Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudīrayet Yakṣa uvāca snānaṃ kim paraṃ proktaṃ yudhiṣṭhira uvāca snānaṃ manomalatyāgo. Yeah. You see, this is a tricky topic. Snānaṃ is a bath. So, bath, what it does to you is well known. It helps, certainly it helps in keeping the body clean. Whatever impurities like sweat, etc. accumulate on the body are washed away with in the bath. And because you cannot separate body and mind, they are together. For the purpose of explanation we divide, but they can never be separated. Physiology and psychology, they are so closely connected that one affects the other deeply. A molecule can affect the mind as much as a thought can affect the molecule. And hence, when you take bath, your mind becomes fresh too. So, shraddhava, apaha, like that there is a yakṣa in the Veda. What is Shraddha, enthusiasm, is indeed waters. What is this? Enthusiasm is waters. Means when you take bath or when you drink water, that seems to produce some element of enthusiasm. Therefore, snānaṃ, making the body clean and helping the mind to become fresh. It is a well understood, experienced phenomenon on a daily basis, more so in tropical countries. Okay? But that is not the snāna that he is talking about. He is asking paraṃ snānaṃ, not this routine snāna. There is no question and answer about routine snāna, which is well understood by everybody. The supreme snāna, supreme or superior, paraṃ. This is the apara snāna which we are doing. There is a para snāna, superior snāna. Then the religious mind comes in and they have introduced. Now the message has gone so deep into the social psyche. Now we don't even have space left to examine it. How far it is true, how much of it is right, we don't have any space left, because the religion, the religious mind has taken over the entire space. Now it is not open for discussion, which is very unfortunate. What is called the sacred bath? What do you mean by sacred bath? So they promote, you take bath in the river, a specified, it is not Mississippi River, it is not Delaware River. It is only Ganga River. What difference it makes? What is the difference between the two? What do you mean by Ganga? You are sitting here. What Ganga? Where is Ganga here? I can only see Tennessee, Mississippi, or Delaware. I can think of those rivers sitting in Pennsylvania. Delaware is there. And here you see Ganga. What Ganga? So you make it into some kind of an esoteric religious thing. And now take a bath, sacred bath, call it sacred bath, and that will give you merit. Will it? Will it give you merit? This nobody questions. At least two people questioned. Maybe I am the third guy, I don't know. Two people questioned. So, Akhandanandaji questioned. Akhandanandaji said, this person is going to Ganga to take a sacred bath in order to get rid of all the sins. And then all those sins, they made a immediate conference. Immediately they came together and talked among themselves. You look at this guy, he gave birth to us and he wants to destroy us by taking Ganga bath. So how to safeguard ourselves? It is like father destroying the children. And how to safeguard? Then one of the sins advises, you do like this. He puts his bag or clothes, etc. on the bank and then enters into the river. You leave him and sit in that bag for a while. And he finishes his bath and comes back and takes the bag and puts on some fresh clothes. You again embrace him. This is how you safeguard yourself. That is what they have decided and that is what they are doing. Okay, then Swami Dayananda Saraswati, the founder of Arya Samaj, has raised a very serious question. If taking sacred bath, say Ganga, Yamuna or whatever, in Kumbha or in Pushkaram, whatever, it is Kumbha in the north, Pushkaram in the south, whatever, if taking bath destroys or eliminates all the papa, then you should come out as an embodiment of bliss, because all papa is gone. Now only punya is there, and therefore in the rest of the life, or at least till you do one more papa, you should remain in bliss. Are you in bliss when you come out of the sacred bath? Are you in bliss? You are not. Therefore, Mahatmas openly questioned this practice. But people are afraid of raising this issue because it has gone very deep into the social consciousness. Sometimes it wreaks havoc with the social life. For example, they promote. They start giving lectures in TV, radio, everywhere and promote. You know what they promote? On such and such a date, early morning 5:30, at Rajamandri, there is a place called Pushkara Ghat. Ghat is the place where you take bath in the river, the bathing ghat. And it is called Pushkara Ghat. There, 5:32 Muhurtam. What is the Muhurtam? That is the moment when Pushkara enters into the water. What do you mean by Pushkara entering into the water? Some story. You take bath and all your sins will be washed away. You believe me, all roads, at least up to 1 mile, people were sleeping on the roads the earlier night. They were sleeping on the roads. In addition to all the buildings are occupied, the terraces are occupied, no more space left, and they were sleeping on the road. And all of them surge. A mass of humanity surges towards that stretch of Pushkar Ghat, 100 meters length. And then women, children, elderly people, their number is more. Children are less, women and elderly people are more, because they are more anxious to wash away the sins. Young people are not so keen about it, it can wait. And so there is a surge of humanity towards that 100-meter stretch of the river. And there was stampede and 50 people died. And recently in Kumbha, very similar, 30 people or 40 people died. The opposition party says more people died, these people are hiding the numbers. This game goes on in India. At least 30-40 people to mara, that much they died. All of these are only the symptoms I pointed out. There is the deep malice, deep thinking that you take a bath in Ganga, all your sins will be washed away. Now come to Mahabharata. This sins washed away came from Skanda Purana, which is at least, if I have to estimate, at least 3,000 years later to Mahabharata. There is a gap of Mahabharata is that much ancient. And Mahabharata said, Na varina shuddhyati chantaratma. Antaratma doesn't become clean by water. And it advises Atma Nadi. You abide in yourself. There is the Ganga in you, the awareness. Today morning we were talking of awareness. As you are aware, you are in touch with the real. You are looking at the flower. Now, I wanted to say, but I did not remember there. Now I am saying, the flower, just like the sunlight of the rising sun, morning sun, touches the flower, the petals, etc., very gently. Same way, your awareness touches the flower very gently. Means you become aware of the flower. In doing so, you are in touch with the real. That is the Atma. And that awareness continues. Now flower is replaced by a bird, replaced by the rising sun. The awareness continues. So compare it with a flow. And so that is what is called by Shankara in Kashi Panchakam as Jnana Ganga. The Ganga of awareness. That will purify you. Not just some water putting on the head. Therefore, that is snānaṃ. The question is about paraṃ snānaṃ. Therefore, the answer given is, so answer is, let us say, snānaṃ manomalatyāgo. So the manomalatyāgo, you are able to get rid of the impurities of the mind. That is the real sacred bath. Paraṃ snānaṃ. The question is about paraṃ snānaṃ. The answer doesn't have the word param, you have to put it there. Paraṃ snānaṃ, the superior bath, the superior in the sense of sacred bath, is only this much. Manomalatyāgo. So you look at yourself, you understand, you examine your consciousness, you study the Shastra, there is the Upadesha of the Shastra, take the cue from the Shastra, examine your consciousness, and now you are free. In doing so, you become free from some of the sharp edges, rough edges of the consciousness, which are the manomala. You become free. Means you become free from selfishness in a way. Selfishness is the sin, it is. That engenders a variety of other sins. Selfishness. So selfishness breeds. Selfishness is located in the mind. Brain cells. Located in the brain cells. Selfishness consists of me and mine. So, to put it bluntly, we dig a small pit, stinking pit, and sit in it and live the life. That is the selfishness. Me, mine. Now you add everything. Mine, my career, my bank account, my religion, my God, my virtue, my merit. My merit is there, my sin. You don't talk about my sin, but you talk about my merit. Okay? So, the small pit filled with the stinking water, stagnant, stinking, colory water, that pit which we have, I am talking of it in a figurative way, okay? We live in that pit. So, whereas the vast flow of life is all around us. We ignore that vast flow of life, the river of life we ignore. We make a small pit for ourselves, filled with stinking water, coming from the river only. and sit in that and we live. This is called selfishness. That is the manomala. Mala is impurity, and that breeds hatred. Why should you hate anybody? There must be selfishness, otherwise there is no reason to hate anybody. Then malice, so the sense of adversity, he is my adversity, etc. Then jealousy. Why jealousy? Because you sit in that pit and compare with somebody else who is sitting in another pit. And his pit is superior to my pit. And therefore jealousy. Comparison followed by jealousy. Then hypocrisy. This hypocrisy is a sin. Why should you be a hypocrite? Why not be clean? We should not practice hypocrisy, dambha, ostentatiousness, showiness, hiding. You have to hide the virtue. You hide your weakness and try present some non-existent virtue to the public. That kind of hypocrisy, all of this is the sin. So, you see, the selfishness that people have, sometimes it may sound very harsh. So, like parents, they believe that they love their children. They don't love their children. They are attached to the children, which means they are selfish even with reference to children. The children should grow in a particular way, and that is not a love. When they grow in a particular way and when they fulfill our demands, the blueprint which we created for them from our own imagination and selfishness, and if they fulfill that blueprint, we feel very good about it. I am a proud father, etc. And then it is not the child as such per se. It is an entire context in which the child is related to me, and the child is fulfilling my ambitions. The child is respecting me and making me comfortable, and therefore I love the child. It is not love. It is all attachment only. Attachment is somewhat a mild word. You can even call it selfishness. Okay? That's why an example is given. The monkey and the child, monkey and child. And then the monkey found, there was sand and hot sun. The sand was very hot, and the monkey is unable to stand on the sand. Therefore the monkey, it pulled the child and put on this. And it stood on the child monkey, the mother monkey. You got the picture? That is the height of selfishness, I tell you. And human beings are no different. Very sad. These generally examples are given in the extreme to make a point. Therefore, this is the selfishness. Selfishness is the mother of all sins. And this is selfishness, another name to it, a more technical name, me and mine syndrome. That is the selfishness. It is located in the brain cells, not in the heart. That's why Bhagavan is there in the heart. Upanishads and Gita, they say, so aham atma gudakaisya sarva bhūtāshaya sthitaḥ. Heart, not in the head. There is only selfishness in the head. And so this selfishness you recognize. So, and then you recognize it. In doing so, you become free from it. You support it, you justify it, you keep it, then that remains as an impurity, it won't go away. Then there are I am talking of manomala, the impurities of the mind. One I have mentioned, there are some more impurities. For example, you waste your time on ostentatiousness. That is manomala. So, like a dress, you are very ostentatious about your dress. Like you spend a lot of time in making yourself presentable to people. Sometimes I fail to understand. I cannot figure out how the people can be so ostentatious, so showy. So, for example, when I see this in some of these events, where social events, etc., where there is a dais and a lot of audience are there, they are all sitting, and in an air-conditioned hall, social event, and they will clap. They come onto the dais. A young heroine comes onto the dais, and she wears the costliest saree and dresses and puts such costly, ostentatious, bombastic, I don't know what ornaments, etc. And she is just trying to show all of that. What a waste of energy. So, enormous waste in presenting oneself to the general public in an ostentatious way, the dress, and then these people, they do not care for the health of the body. You care for the health of the body, that is the good thing, that is a good virtue it is. In your mind you understand what is nutritious food, what is the yuktāhāra viharasya, what kind of physical exercises, etc. I should do to keep the body in good shape. That is what they should do. They don't do that. Instead of that, they waste their energies on the ostentatiousness of dress, ornaments, etc. Men and women. That is manomala. So, you see, and it is like you put enormous effort on the dress and no effort on good health. How foolishness it is. Similarly, in the life, you put enormous effort on career, making money, this, that, etc., all worldly things, but don't put any effort to purify the soul. Atmajnanam is totally neglected. And enormous effort about career, making money, this, that. It is like putting enormous effort on the dress and totally neglecting the health. Can there be more foolishness than that? This is one aspect of the manomala, the impurities of the mind. Then jealousy, I have mentioned, rivalry, competition, rivalry. You should not have any rivalry with anybody. What is their rivalry? We do not compare with anybody, we do not compete with anybody. There should be no rivalry. And of course, ambition. Ambition is a malice. An ambitious person, he sacrifices his wife and children also to fulfill his ambition. An ambitious person is one who goes round and round that small self, that egotistic self. That is the definition of an ambitious person. Therefore, ambition is not a virtue. In fact, it is a vice. And therefore, ambition, competition, all these things arise out of comparison, then malice, and then opposition, adversarial approach. All of these are impurities which, to put it harshly, which indicate that there is something dead there, like a dead rat smells bad. Dead rat, it was dead somewhere in some corner. Till you locate it and pull it out and throw out, there is no peace in the house. Right? Similarly, it is spiritual death to entertain these qualities in the heart. It is spiritual death. The spirit is dying, and therefore the bad smell of death is coming out. Therefore these things should be kept aside. By understanding they will go. This is the snānaṃ, not this is the sacred snāna. Mahabharata. Mahabharata doesn't recommend go to that river and take bath, you will get virtue. That is not Mahabharata. You ask me where from it has come. It has come from Kashi Khanda Skanda Purana, which is which is compiled in the last 500 to 1000 years. 1,000 years to in the last 1,000 to 500 years. You have to count from the other side, you know. That is how it is compiled. And so it started in one place, and therefore it went on like a wildfire. Therefore, there is a small puddle of water. In India, we do not keep water bodies clean. The entire village waste is dumped into the water body. Solid waste they dump. What to speak of the sewer, all that is thrown, pushed into the water body. But now the water body is given a sacred name. Vasishtha Kunda. What Vasishtha Kunda? Where is Vasishtha? And the water is green with moss on the surface, and you go near it smells, and if you touch, you have to come and wash your hand with Dettol carefully. That is the water. And now people go and take bath in it. Take bath in dirty water. Saying only because I will be beaten, I tell you, if I say this lecture in Phoenix I am doing, but if I say this in Rishikesh, they will beat me. I am afraid. Really. They take bath in all this Parasurama Kunda. Kunda is a puddle of water, bigger pond of water. And they take bath in it. Parasurama, what Parasurama? And some story. And the stories are sometimes most reprehensible. Parasurama killed all kinds of thousands of people, and all that blood is collected in the form of a kunda, and that is the kunda. If you take bath in it, you will be purified. How does it sound? वो देखना बोलना भी मुश्किल है. All this degradation happened in Vivekananda's words in the last 500, 600 years. All this degradation happened. Therefore, running here and hither and thither for sacred bath, etc., that is not the point. There are occasions when you need to take a bath which makes you feel good. That is every morning. Every morning you do that. You may do it in a river. And there are some special sacred occasions like sannyasa, diksha, etc. in Hinduism, and baptism, etc. in Christianity, where they go to a river and find a good place, and that things are there. I am not dismissing that. They are sacred really. But that's why nobody should feel that taking bath in a river, you see the rivers of India are all polluted. And recently, Yamuna, our Prime Minister took up upon himself, he took this burden upon himself of purifying Yamuna. They won the election, he called them, start now, you announce it. Start purifying Yamuna. You know what he did? Even before the cabinet took oath and chief minister is decided, it took some 5-6 days gap. In the meanwhile, he told the governor, start cleaning. Why the government apparatus is there, put them, start cleaning. And they started cleaning. Before government formed, they started cleaning the river Yamuna. And once the government formed, he called all of them. You should clean Yamuna in 3 years, which is tough. And then he divided this cleaning process, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 or stage 4. 3 years time, do it. Already Yamuna is looking better, that is what people say. Of course, Ganga is looking better. Still there is impurity. In this context, the minister who is in charge of the Yamuna cleaning made a statement. The devotees contribute maximum impurities. In Rishikesh, I was seeing every day, these people contribute so many impurities to that river. In the name of Harati, they put oil into the river. They do Harati, all that oily stuff, and what remains after burning of the Harati is over, everything goes into the river. You should not put oil into the river. The two blackish oil which came out of the burning, that oil will have peroxides and other impurities. That should not be put into river. But everything is put into river. And all of this because of a superstition that taking the sacred bath thing it is. And you come to Mahabharata. This I am seeing it a second time. In Shanti Parva it is said, Navarina Shuddhyati Chantaratma. And then Sutta Samhita also said that. I made a big deal of it. So that is not the snānaṃ. This is the snāna. What is the snāna? Awareness. The exercise of awareness. Be aware, you look at your mind, the consciousness. Examine the movement of the consciousness and see what kind of impurities are there in it. You will find. So, people talk of meditation. What meditation you do? Shall I give you an example for the meditation that people do? It is like the DEO, District Educational Officer, goes to the school to examine how the teachers are teaching the students, etc. He gives 3 days notice and goes to the school. Once that happened, and our teacher, he called me, mathematics teacher. You see, some of these questions, I will pull you up and you answer. I said, ready. I was ready. And so the DEO is sitting, he is teaching something, some algebra. Algebra Gundagabara, Telugu. So algebra is teaching, and some question came. And the DEO asked a question. This question you ask one of the students, he asked me. I replied. The DEO was happy. And one more question. Then the DEO said, don't pull him. Ask somebody else. I sat down. Because otherwise I would have answered that. So this way, now this is what the meditation you do. So early morning 6:30 I will do meditation. Okay. Then what happens, the consciousness, now I have to keep myself clean because this person is coming to watch me. Okay. And so you look within, it appears calm, quiet, pious, that is how it appears. That is not meditation. Okay, after breakfast is over, you went to the office, you are having some tiff with your colleague, then you have to look into your consciousness. Then the consciousness will appear in its real face. Envy, jealousy, all those things, they will not be there early morning 6:30 when you close the door and you don't find anything of those things. They are all hiding because you gave notice that I will do meditation. That is not meditation. That is some exercise. That is not meditation. Meditation is when you looked at somebody, you are going somewhere, you went to a marriage or went to a social function, looked at somebody, compare with that somebody and become jealous of that somebody, then immediately you notice that jealousy. That is meditation. Not you sit in some corner and look inside. What do you find? Very calm and quiet. Good, great. That is not meditation. Got the point? Therefore, when there is selfishness, you feel selfish and you are aware of it. That is meditation. When you are attached, you are pushing somebody And then immediately it occurs to you. You look into your consciousness. I am attached to the person. That's why I am putting an agenda before him. And it occurs to you. That is meditation. That's why meditation is not a technique. It is not relegated to some time in the morning or evening, like DGO examination to the high school. So otherwise you will be doing everlastingly the meditation and all these impurities remain in place. Therefore, when you are greedy, suppose it's a time to give something to somebody, you are greedy, then immediately you become alert. This is called alertness. Therefore, meditation can be defined as alertness. You become alert and be aware of the greed. It will go away. Then proud, you are proud or you are arrogant or proud. You feel great about yourself. Then immediately you become alert. When you see early morning 6:30 after bath, you close the door and sit like this, you don't feel proud at that time. The pride is hiding because you are the DGO, came for a visit. The pride, everything is hiding. And so you see a clean consciousness. That is not meditation. When you become proud, feel that pride, vanity, then immediately you become alert. That alertness is meditation. That's why meditation is not a technique. It is not a daily exercise. Meditation is the word to meditate. What is the meaning of the word to meditate? To observe, to become aware, to pay attention. That is the meaning. Now, when you should observe, when you should be aware, when you should be alert, whole day you should be doing that. So, like you are walking, are you not alert where you are putting your step? Sometimes it so happens, you are looking behind but walking forward. Somebody tells, hey, look ahead. Therefore, this is how you look into your mind and you watch this kind of a movement and it will go away. You have to do that. Manomalatyāgo, that bath you have to do it. Otherwise, it will lead to destruction, failure. All Vedanta, it doesn't help at all. Therefore, also, manomala, there is another impurity in the mind. You do not hold others responsible for your mistakes. See whether you are doing that. I made a mistake. Obviously, it was a mistake. I agree. But he is responsible for that. We should not do that. Nobody else is responsible for our mistakes. We are responsible for our mistakes. And we are accountable for our mistakes. Therefore, you see, the whole problem comes because you consider the worldly objects as real. That is where the problem comes. The worldly objects are not real. And then you have to look whether you are attached to particular names and forms. So you have to look into your consciousness whether you are attached to particular names and forms. You see, I have seen this. One Swami is coming by flight. And then the Swami will come to the airport, somebody will receive. Then this man asks the Swami, dear Swami, what kind of car, these 4 cars are available, what kind of car should be provided for you to pick you up from the airport? And the Swami replies. And then the food is served. The Swami, what kind of tablecloth should be put on the table on which you take food? And the Swami tells, I want this kind of a cloth. What kind of a flower vase should be there? Ye kya baat hai? What is all this? So that means you are attached, even a Swami is now attached to particular forms and objects. This is attachment. Suppose somebody asks, what kind of a pickup? Arey, pick me up from the airport, I will be dead tired. Pick me up and put me in my place, I will lie down. Any jalopy that runs on 4 wheels is all right for me. Any blessed thing is all right. And what food you eat? Arey, some food which is soft, which can be digested easily. You give it, and that is enough. What dress you want, it doesn't matter. What kind of a cloth we will put on table? Arey, don't put any cloth at all. Put a newspaper so that it can be folded and thrown. It should be like that. You should not be attached to names and forms. And this is how we have to look. I have described a few. We have to look into the mind. Means you have to be meditative whole day. And how can we be whole day? What is the problem? You have to understand everything. Is it a problem? Or you want to understand a few things and don't want to understand a few other things? Do you want to live like that? What is preferable? I want to understand everything. Every step you should put in the right place. Is there a problem in that? Therefore, be alert all through the day. There is no problem in it. If it is effort, then there is a reason to complain. I will be tired. I can only do this much effort. More than that, how much more effort can I do like that? You can complain. But what I am saying is not effort. To meditate is not effort. It is effortlessness, in fact. It is effortlessness. And therefore, don't worry that, how can we be meditative whole day? Don't complain like that. Because meditation is not a process. It is like, how can I be smiling whole day? You can be. You can be. How can I be happy whole day? You can be. How can I be wise at all times? You can be. In fact, the opposite is difficult. Because there is no effort involved in this. So, all aspects connected with manomalatyāgo, I have addressed, but some more things will come. These questions, they are not over. They will be coming again and again. In different direction they will come. Then next question. dānaṃ kimihocyate. Iha, in this world. Kim what? Dānaṃ, charity. Uchyate, said. That is the question. What is charity? This is one tricky topic. But then I address it. Because in the world, there are a few things which gained currency. Philanthropy, charity. These things gained currency. And people are gullible and credulous. They are ready to believe anything. And they are easily confused, are easily misled. Because they don't think this is how this goes on, this dāna, charity thing. Charity of all kinds of things. Make this laddu and offer to God and auction the laddu. Ganesh laddu auction. So all the rich people assemble, only rich people can purchase the laddu auction. Poor man can, if you give poor man a laddu, he will eat it. Other than that, he will not purchase it even. Now you put it for auction. Why laddu costs, suppose 100 rupees. Why should you do auction for it? Somebody purchase it is for 10,000 and that person is considered meritorious, more religious. What kind of religion it is? How come the religion has degenerated to this level? What is religion in it? So, charity, dānaṃ. Then there is a thing called social work. These are all difficult topics. And people, philanthropist. What is meant by philanthropist? So, you see, these are all tricks played by the people who collect funds, nothing more than that. So say, you are all, I am very glad that you have assembled here. I am very sure that you are all good philanthropists. इसका मतलब क्या होता है? मतलब ही होता है. There is matlab in it. Means there is some cunningness involved in it. The guy is trying to gather a lot of money from them. He wants to take whatever is in their pocket. Okay? You see, I came across a gentleman. He was talking a few good things about Ramayana. Therefore, naturally, I went near him. So then somebody came, philanthropist, and he said, Mahatma Ji, I will give you this money. He took out a wad of bills and said, I will offer it to you. This man said, offer it the petam. Look at this guy. So he put a petam there. Petam means this is the petam. This is petam only, a stool made of wood. This is the petam. And only difference is put some colored clothes and put one image there and put some flowers and then incense stick and call it petam. And give some name to Bhuvaneshwari petam. Some name you give to it. And then, so please come and offer at the petam. And there is one brahmachari. Because when all people are offering money, the notes will pile up. And when the next person who comes, he sees, oh, a lot of money is there, I need not give so much money. Therefore, the brahmachari will be quietly, calmly and quietly, surreptitiously, if I can say so, takes away all those notes and keeps only one or two there. He should not take away everyone. Because one or two notes are there means that is where you have to make offering. They give that message. And lots of notes are there means we can offer a little and be done with it. Therefore a wrong message. So take all of them and put in a bag and hide the bag and just petam. Please come and offer to the petam. I don't take anything. You offer to the petam. What the petam will do? Where will go all this money? And this is called charity. That is not charity. In fact, why do you want to do charity? Social service. Why do you want to do social service? So, because there is misery in the world, there is starvation, there is disease, of course there is a lot of exploitation, and therefore there is this, in India, great wealth is juxtaposed to the worst poverty. They exist side by side. And therefore you see it, and therefore your heart melts. Is that the reason why you want to do social work? What is the reason? Is that the reason? So, because there is love in your heart, you see so much misery in the world, and therefore you want to do social work. Is that the reason? Or, there is an or. Okay? So, you are looking for some fulfillment for yourself. Like in this fundraisers, what they do? Send checks. Please send checks. And 10 checks come. They name only those checks which cross a particular number. $1,000 check has come. $1,000, Mr. Johnson. $500, push it down. $300, throw it down. $2,000, oh, Mrs. So-and-so. Announce. And so you give a check so that your name will be announced. And you feel fulfilled. And the other poor people who gave $500 check, $300 check, they are able to see clearly that this fellow, almost with contempt, he is pushing these checks behind. They will use them, but putting into the box, he doesn't even care. He looks at the number and then looks at the name. And therefore they get, this man, he ignored my name, he pushed my check, I lost unnecessarily. So, is there some sense of self-fulfillment? This is the fundraiser. Did you notice what I said? And they do this for temples, for ashrams, this is how they do it. And people follow that. Look at the people, Buddhus. So you are doing charity for self-fulfillment, some kind of your own fulfillment. Is that what you are doing? If so, that has no value. I told I said this. Before or whatever I said, that is the real love. You have love. You see suffering and you feel love. You feel for the other person. And out of that feeling for the other person, you have that natural tendency of love for the other person. You see the other person having some difficulty, and now you know that you have the means by God's grace to eliminate the difficulty, and so you step forward and help the person and see the person becoming happy. That makes you happy because of that love. That is called dānaṃ. Such kind of dānaṃ, you find it very rare. Generally, the dānaṃ, the charity, is ostentatious and it is meant for self-fulfillment, like that. It is done like that. We are not sure about these things. You see, there are a few things better pushed underneath the carpet instead of pulling it out and examining it. There are a few things like that. So, you see, somebody, he finds himself in an ugly situation. Ugly. In his understanding, it is ugly. Maybe it is ugly also, really speaking. It is ugly. And therefore, what he says, I cannot remain here. I have to run away, I have to go away. And looks around and finds a social service organization and goes and joins that. And then get frustrated soon. There is a rule. Any social service organization, you go and talk with the people, if they open their heart, you will find every one of them is frustrated and conflicted. Every one of them, almost without exception. So you give money, you work hard, be the volunteer, give hours of time, and at the end of it, frustrated and unhappy. What is that? So, why are you going into social service? What is the reason? Because you have some ugliness in life and you want to escape from that life, and therefore go and join social service. It is like there was one husband, please don't mind, some silly example, hen-pecked husband. There is a association of hen-pecked husbands in Delhi headquarters. It is there. Abused husbands. Association for abused husbands. They provide legal support and all that. They have a headquarters also in Delhi. And so it was started by one abused husband. You got the point? He was abused and she was beating him. She took away all his wealth. She was not even giving him proper food, and the neighbors were giving him food. and she won't even give him a cup of coffee, and then physically beats him, and the neighbors, out of a pity, they give him coffee. And so he decided, I cannot live this life anymore. And so he ran away. In India, you don't get divorce and all that. No divorce you won't get. To go to a divorce lawyer, you need a wad of bills first. And you never get, the judge will never give divorce. The judge calls them, he tells, you find out some way and settle. No, Judge Sahab, you give, I don't give. You won't give. No, we are unable to settle. Then 2 months vaida. It is called, the case is posted for, today 26th January, the case is posted for 26th April. And you come back 26th April, he reads it, looks at them. What is going on? So they say something. The case is posted for November. And then these people, I told the couple, you settle outside. They could not. Then after, they went on and on and on. Then 6 years, 7 years, the judge is transferred. A new judge came. The file is this big. And the judge told, you settle outside. My advice to you, like a father figure, settle outside. I cannot understand all this file. It is not possible. It is not humanly possible. You settle outside. Then they settled outside. And then they told me. Then I asked, how long back I told you to settle? 3 years back. Therefore, the marriage or whatever, his divorce won't come. He was abused at home. He cannot live that ugly life, and therefore he went and started living alone. And then he floated an organization or society, not organization, society of the abused husbands. Registered number 1052 by 97. Means in the year 97, its registration is 1052. And the membership fees is rupees 300 per year. It is there. I am not even exaggerating. And therefore, there you will find people doing social work. It is the social work, or it is an avenue of escape. An avenue of escape. For many people, the so-called social work is an avenue of escape. When you are trying to escape and use social work as an avenue of escape, it will only create further misery. Therefore, philanthropy, charity, social work, etc. If you have love in the heart, again I come back to the same point. If you have love in the heart, you have to check. Do you have love in the heart? That is one. Number two, are you seeking the truth? That is important. Because I have love in the heart, I want to reduce the suffering in the world, again you are imagining. You can never ever reduce suffering in the world. The world ever plots on. Okay? If 1 million people start making effort to reduce the suffering in the world, for 10 years, still the world remains the same. It plots on. Therefore, you do not have such imagined ideological thinking and all that. Then why you want to be nice to the other person? Only simple reason. You have love in the heart. And now you are not trying to reduce the suffering in the world. World is mithya. Sukham is mithya, dukkham is also mithya. Then what is that you have in mind? In addition to the love in the heart, you have the seeking of the truth, jijñāsa. That is what you have in your mind. And then another two, you are not ambitious. What is the ambition? The social service that I have done must stand first. There is an index, they give index A plus, A double plus. Our social service organization got A double plus. You see, the world is a very funny world it is. Social service is supposed to be sacred, but in that so much corruption enters. So you are ambitious to prove that you are a person of social service of some caliber. You want to prove something, and so you are ambitious there. And there also you pursue success and release the news item that this year we have done this much social work. Print a brochure and distribute. We started 72 schools and then educated 2,534 students. Do you know how many students write a 10th class exam in India, in Andhra Pradesh? In Telangana recently 12 lakh students wrote exam. India, big numbers, all big number cities. What social service do is not even a drop in the ocean. Therefore, this ambition, etc. And then you are doing to gain respectability in the society, and you feel some virtue in acquiring respectability, and you want to bring transformation of the society. All of this is, you are on the wrong track. Then why should you do any charity or any help to others? Only for two reasons. One, you have love in the heart. And two, you are seeking the truth. The truth is, it is the same Atma. He is not a different Atma. He is the same Atma. And therefore, in loving that person, I love myself. That is the truth you are seeking. And you have that natural love in your heart. And then spontaneously, you do something. That is called the dānaṃ, which here Dharmaraja talking about. Okay? Dānaṃ bhūtarakṣaṇaṃ. Dānaṃ vai bhūtarakṣaṇaṃ. Bhuta, it need not be human beings. It could be an animal. But then don't start society for the protection of abandoned dogs. Now don't start that. You find, you see what I noticed, there was a horse, wild horse. It was running or whatever, its leg was stuck between two branches of a tree. It got stuck. And it was struggling and it got stuck more. And there were two people who went for a walk, early morning walk. They noticed this wild horse or somebody's horse, stuck like that, and it was struggling, and it will die also. How long it is struggling, they don't know. Immediately they stopped their walk. There was love in their heart. They went and brought a saw and cut the branch, carefully pulled the leg out, because it will kick otherwise. And carefully pulled the leg out and ran away. The horse pulled the leg out and it stood on its legs, 4 legs. It could not even stand for a while. It carefully regained its balance and walked away. That is bhūtarakṣaṇaṃ. So now don't start society for the protection of horses that are caught somewhere. Don't start any society. It should be spontaneous. What is the opposite of spontaneous? Organized. That is the opposite of spontaneous. You see, you have to understand it in the right spirit. You put a mic before me, that is not organization. Okay, don't look at it that way. Therefore, that's why one Mahatma said, have love, seek truth. Don't be a professional, do good, but don't be a professional do-gooder. So if you are a professional do-gooder, you end up in frustration, not in truth. Therefore, it is very important to understand this, what all we have discussed. It is very important to understand this, because the social work, the so-called charity, philanthropy, social work is in the air. It is in the air. And there are books about it, and then pamphlets are printed and newspapers are printed, and there is propaganda of it. And therefore it is in the air. And then there are schools to train social service workers. There are schools also. You can join a school, they will teach you how to do social service. And therefore so many things are there. And therefore there is every chance that you get caught in this air and miss the spirit of it. You have all the details of it, the nitty-gritty of it you have, you are caught in it, but the spirit is missing. And therefore people get frustrated. You see, I ask you, if you are unhappy for whatever reason, people do this. They are unhappy and therefore they want to do social work. You got the point? That is wrong. Nobody will tell you these things because they are not politically correct things to say. If you are an unhappy person for whatever reason, what social work you will do? An unhappy heart cannot engender happiness. Therefore, I tell you, who is a truly religious person? Not the one who is doing a lot of charity, this and that. A truly religious person is the one who is happy, cheerful. Prasada. Prasade sarva dukkhanam hanirasyopajayate. Happy and cheerful. And because you are happy and cheerful, there is love in your heart, and you want to spread the happiness and cheerfulness not as a project, not as an agenda or a project, but example is given. The rose doesn't have a project or agenda to spread the fragrance. Fragrance spreads naturally. Therefore, if you are a happy, cheerful, loving person, seeking the truth, that becomes very important. We are jignasus, you know. If you are such a person, your life becomes a social service. You need not organize a social service. You breathe in and breathe out, there is social service in that. So you have to, your very living, it becomes a social service. Otherwise, there are so many social workers, you will become one more. Your heart will be empty and there is no love, only frustration. Only frustration. Very frustration. I have met so many social workers and it's only a matter of time before the frustration comes out. It's only a matter of time. Therefore, you see, sometimes what happens is you may give away a lot of your money in charity, possible. Okay, charity is good, you may give away a lot of money, and then you may persuade other people to contribute a lot of money and manage to procure a lot of money for a good cause. And sometimes you may be able to bring some reform also by spending all this money. But the point is, is your heart empty or filled with happiness and love? That you have to check, okay? And so, people, they have full of theories, all kinds of social service theories, etc. they have. So, what is the way how to develop a social service organization? There are courses about it in the universities, etc. There are like these lawyers and tax consultants, etc. There are social service consultants. They take a fee and tell you how to do social service. Social service consultants, like marriage counselors. And when I say this, you may call it, I am exaggerating. One day a person came to me. He had trouble in family life and all that, and asked for my blessings. And then I blessed, you be loving, you help the other person, you don't seek anything for yourself. Stop seeking anything and be utterly selfless and see whether the relation can bloom. By the way, what do you do, sir? He said, I am a marriage counselor. Manhattan. ऐसा होता है. Therefore, you may bring marvelous reforms also, because you have all kinds of techniques, methods, fundraising technologies, all those things you have. But I tell you, life will become dull, very getting tired, worn out, very joyless, frustrated. And in this social service, two things you notice. One, the people who are getting benefit, they are never nice to you. They feel that you have given less to them. Given more to that person, given less to me. Never nice to you. They never express gratitude to you. There on your face they remain unhappy. And even while doing the charity, it turns into ashes in your mouth. And then comparison, competition, etc. Therefore, the point is first understand yourself. What are you? Are you an unhappy person? Understand. I am an unhappy person. I am an escapist. I am escaping from an ugly situation. Understand. And seek the truth. And learn to love. Become an apprentice of love. And learn to love. And then out of that love which fills your heart, and out of that intense enthusiasm for truth, it so happens that through the agency of your body-mind, some help could be rendered to the other person without the sense of doership and enjoyership. If that happens, that is the best form of charity. And that is the way you have to understand dānaṃ. And then dānaṃ is not just giving a little money. Suppose a person is hungry, you give money, then he has to look for a hotel where food can be sold. So you see, I have seen a situation. He was an elderly person, and he asked, he looked at a family person, and he was about to take out a 100-rupee note and give it to him. He said, I am hungry. What will I do with 100-rupee note? I am hungry in a village. Then this man called his wife, called her, you give food to him. So he was invited inside and given food. He ate food and went his way. Therefore, our love should find a spontaneous expression in which the person is a person in distress. Any life form in distress will get immediate help from us without any sense of doership and other things, in a very spontaneous way. and you don't make a big deal about it for propaganda purposes and all that. That becomes the real charity. Got it? You see, the topic is a simple topic. I could have managed saying, you protect life forms, so that becomes dānaṃ. I did not do it that way. I have examined the whole situation and tried to make some meaningful message out of that question and answer. So we have finished that verse. Let us finish just remind ourselves by saying the verse yakṣa uvāca kim sthairyamṛṣibhiḥ proktaṃ kinca dhairyamudāhṛtaṃ snānaṃ ca kim paraṃ proktaṃ dānaṃ ca kimihocyate yudhiṣṭhi uvāca svadharme sthiratā sthairyaṃ. So when we recite, we remember how we went through the whole text. Dhairyamiṃdriyanigrahaḥ snānaṃ manomalatyāgo dānaṃ vai bhūtarakṣaṇaṃ. Here is a question. If druk is also called sometimes drashta, subject-object, subject is drashta, object is drishya, druk is something which is beyond the pair of opposites. But sometimes druk is also called drashta. How to distinguish? You have to go by the context. Bhai. You look at what is being said. Shankara says drashta in Bhashya. There drashta mane drukityarthaha. Okay, that context. Whereas elsewhere he says drashta and druk. There drashta is not druk. Druk is separate. Goes by context. That's why you should have a complete command over the language of Shankara. The Shastric language it is. It is not like sambhashana sandeshaha. You speak in Sanskrit, that not that kind of language. It is the language of the Shastra. And so you should be adept in it. And then try to find out what is the Acharya trying to say. Vivakṣa. You should be aware of all of that. And that is the job of the Acharya also. The student may not get it right away, but the Acharya gets it and he points out. So it all depends upon the vivakṣa. And Shankara, there are occasions where Shankara uses the word drashta to mean druk. And that context you have to see. Very good. Om Purnamada Purnamidam